You're listening to Supervision with a Vision, where we discuss all things supervision. I'm your host, Sarah, professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, play therapist, eating disorder specialist, and cookie lover, with my co-host, Heather, marriage and family therapist, certified Together in Texas counselor, a Texas transplant from California, and outdoor adventurer. Hi, welcome to Supervision with a Vision. Today, Heather and I are talking about not only decluttering our lives, but also our counseling practices. This week, we read Why Decluttering is Hard from Psychology Today 2022. Heather, we noticed that all of the information that all of us have coming at us all the time is really actually very focused at getting our attention.
Right. I mean, there are so many things just by opening your email. You can be flooded with information.
Oh, all the pop-ups?
Right.
Sure.
All the different things. You could be even doing a search for something that then takes you down a rabbit hole somewhere else. You're like, wait, I was just going to look up this other thing that I...
Oh, sure. I think that happens to me, work-related and not.
Right.
I start looking up something and then I realize I never really got the answer I was looking for, but now I'm looking at more what best.
Right.
And I get totally distracted. Right. What are some ways that you think, maybe some more ways that our supervisees, this happens to them, or as counselors, this could happen to us?
I think it really happens, especially when you're a brand new supervisee. When you finish school, but you haven't really acquired many hours yet, there are so many things that catch your attention with oh, I should do this in my practice. Oh, I should have this. Oh, what's the best platform to use? Or there's all different things flooded.
I feel like a lot in the last week even, I've had people who are just barely out of school, not 6 months out or a year out, but just maybe a couple months out of school. And they are all desperate and asking me, which certification do I start on?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, take a beat.
Right.
I mean, the ink isn't dry on the last thing that you just finished, but I can appreciate I think it's harder now for them to decipher that than it was for me when I finished school.
Oh, absolutely. There's just more out there. There's just more content.
What do you say to people when they ask, okay, what's my new project? What certificate am I going to work on now? What do you tell them?
Depending on how brand new they are, I might say, well, let's just get your feet wet. Let's just take it slow. Let's not jump in yet.
Yeah.
You just learned a lot of clinical skills in a non-clinical setting.
Yeah.
So let's just slowly and build up to that. And maybe that's a goal for you to look at different things in the future. But
I like that. I was going to say, I feel like if I tell someone none of them, wait,
stop it.
That's just not what they're looking for. Right. And so they don't like that answer. But I like what you say, because if you tell them hey, well, why don't we do this? And it's, you're giving them a short-term achievable goal that is in the direction of what they want to achieve. They want to get a certification. And you're saying, okay, well, to help you do that, let's think about what you want to do.
Right.
I've kind of gotten into a pattern of telling people that I think, because I don't think I'm going to dissuade them from thinking about a certificate, I think life will dissuade them. They're going to get busy trying to get their hours towards licensure. But I tell them, if I had to do it over again, I would focus on certifications that really excite me.
Right. Something you'd be passionate about, something that drives you. Not just oh, this one is here and it's easy.
Right. Yeah. Or even CEUs.
Right.
You could, I did a while ago. She was so eager and sweet. I had this associate at the time. She was an intern and I didn't know it. She was every single day that she had any available free time, she was attending free CEUs.
Wow.
Everywhere, all over the Metroplex in person. And when she couldn't find one in person, she was doing one virtually. And it was so much. I bet she was getting 5 to 6 every week.
That's crazy.
And I love that she was so excited, but she was overwhelmed. And then she was confused because it was just way too much stuff.
Right.
And none of it was focused.
Well, I was going to say, and I bet because of how broad, sweeping, psychology is in general, you could have even been getting
conflicting information.
Right.
Yes.
2 sides that don't add up and then you're really lost.
Yeah. So I didn't realize she was doing that until she told me. And she told me because she was so overwhelmed, exhausted, confused. And I went,
brain decline or intake.
right,
Stop,
yeah.
no more.
So yeah, I tell people who are asking about certification, start asking, maybe it's exactly the same thing, just different words
Right.
than you use. Try and figure out what makes you excited. Try and
Right.
figure out what would be useful to you, practical. I also tell them, if you really, any of them that are worthwhile are going to take time and money.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not want to spend a bunch of time and money and then realize halfway through, I don't care about this thing.
Right. Not into it, or I thought it was something different.
Mm-hmm. So those are things that happen to our supervisees. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, I'm sure. I can't think of like a concrete thing, but I know often I get swooped up by the idea of like, oh, look at this, looks interesting. And it might be a topic I'm really interested in. And then I'm like, wait, I can already do that. I don't need that certification. Or maybe it just gives me perspective to like try something different in my practice or like do something new. Probably more on my side, it's like maybe I'm just getting like stalemate and like doing the same thing all the time.
I think this is a smaller scale example. Ways that this might happen to me as a counselor is that the information or the input that I'm getting is not allowing me to see new perspectives. And so I start seeing all the clients in the same way.
Right.
So like an eating disorder example might be if I had a lot of eating disorder clients and I started saying eating disorders are all about control. And then I applied that to every single client I had because that was the input I was getting. That's the opinion I'm hearing from people around me or trainings or whatever I'm getting, that it doesn't allow me to consider other opinions.
Right. It blocks the chances of that happening. Right.
So sometimes, maybe like my supervisee, she had so much input, she was overwhelmed by the amount of trying to understand and synthesize all of it. And also you can get input that narrows your view.
Kind of put your blinders on.
Okay, second point, all this information that's coming at us is actually pretty intentional, and it is intentionally geared towards pulling at your heartstrings.
Right.
So it's marketed towards us and marketed in a way that it engages us emotionally. It's social. There's something about it that draws us in.
Well, don't you want to be the best counselor you can be?
Oh, that's true. Yep. So if they put that on, maybe if they started out every advertisement for a new training, that certainly would have caught the attention of my supervisee. Who wanted to go to, she would have thought, yes, I have to go to that one. Okay. What else? How else are they? Have you noticed that they're pulling at our heartstrings or, enticing us or engaging us?
I think sometimes it doesn't even come from a clinical background. Maybe there's advertisements out there that are looking for you to support their group or their cause. They're looking for backing. They're looking for new members for certain things. And so they're wanting you to dive in because it's better for the kids if we have X, Y, and Z. I think that happens often in our field. We have a lot of people in our field that are very passionate about helping, and it's easy. I think we're an easy mark.
Yeah, true. Yes. I'm thinking like, let's all do it, that kind of mentality.
Right.
I don't think I'm trying to decide if I think this is a positive or a negative. I think I've always thought about it as a positive. The professional organizations I'm a part of, once they've had like their annual conference, for sure, they're going to blast a ton of posts on all different kinds of social media or all the ways they put things out in print of all of the attendees having a ton of fun.
Right. Wasn't this like awesome?
Hugging each other, group pictures. If there was one happy hour social situation, they got 50 pictures from it. Everybody's holding a drink and smiling and hugging somebody in an attempt to get people to want to attend, to get involvement. Maybe I think that's a positive because I think all those groups that I'm a part of are doing positive things. But if there was a group that wasn't,
could easily
positive,
be. Yeah.
So it's pulling at our heartstrings. Do you think this? So we think this might affect us. Do you think it sometimes catches our supervisees hook, line, and sinker?
I think it does. In a little bit of a different way. I think it's back to that, like, don't you want to be the best counselor you can be? Or it might pull at them a little bit in a way of like, well, school didn't teach you everything. So you need to know this or you need to dive in here.
Yeah. Do you know? I don't know. I'd never thought of it as being intentional, but we're saying that all of this input and information and interaction is intentional. I have supervisees who right now are part of Facebook groups for clinical supervisees.
Okay.
So we're not invited.
Right. We're not included.
Yeah. And my supervisees tell me that sometimes it's really helpful and encouraging, and other times it's just a bitch fest.
Right. You just need to complain about how horrible something was.
And that they recognize that sometimes they want to be involved, and other times they start to think, ugh, this is dragging me down.
Right.
But I do think if we're saying this input, all the stuff that's coming at us is intended to pull at your heartstrings or be emotional or be social, then that would be true.
Right.
That if everybody's saying, I hate this stupid hours thing, I can't believe they make us do all this stuff, then that is emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it would be easy to start feeling like, this is so unfair. We're all indentured slaves.
Right.
So more information and I think then the fact that it's coming at us so much and in so many different ways, and number two, that it's intended to pull at your heartstrings and engage you, then we need to be careful and thoughtful about what we let in.
Right.
And what we don't let in.
Right. Developing that filter is incredibly important. I mean, it happens to us and we're seasoned. We've done this a really long time. We don't always have the best filter for it. So it's being able to filter it out, but then also realizing that, like, generally speaking, back to the basics, you and I have done therapy for long enough.
Yeah. So that's our third point. The fewer distractions you have, maybe the better you are.
Right.
When you say back to basics, what do you mean?
Empathetic listening. Following someone telling their story or telling whatever they needed to work on for that week, and really just reflecting. I think any brand new counselor probably has those skills. You know, you don't need to get so caught up in being a specialist of one said thing, which is a lot of what schools promote and what different agencies promote. Oh, you have to do this and be this way. But just being present with a client. Some of those are the basic things that, like, weed out the rest of the stuff that's coming in. Just do your thing.
Yeah. I was part of the Association for Play Therapy's conference committee for, I think, 10 years. And what I did as a part of the committee was that we would go through all the proposals. We would also look at feedback from the previous year. And from all of that, we would compile who would present each year at their annual conference. And every year, I think it was a really good discussion, an important one that we had every year, but it did feel like, and here we go again. Here's our, it's a year time where we're going to kind of bicker and give each other a hard time a little bit. But the discussion was, how much do we focus on the new technique?
Right.
How much of our conferences, let me show you a new technique, let me show you a new model, versus learning or practicing or reflecting on therapeutic skills. Or the thought process behind what we're doing.
Right.
And we were always divided, but I think that was good. I think we needed people on both sides of that argument to help us find a nice middle.
Right, a balance.
But the argument for fewer techniques and more theory was, you could learn a ton of techniques, but it doesn't help you with each individual client. But if you know the thought process behind it, you can ultimately come up with your own techniques that fit the situation or the client. And so then fewer distractions or fewer things to get in the way.
Right.
I think too, sometimes, and I do appreciate this, certainly Association for Play Therapy did this, but it is also a Texas requirement too, that no continuing education be a sales pitch.
Right.
Which I think is nice and lends itself towards this, that trying to sell your new book or your new toy or your new fidget or whatever it is, maybe trends towards being more of a distraction and not decluttering or getting back to basics.
Right.
What if we talk about decluttering our own minds? How do you declutter if all of this stuff is coming at us and it's in the background of what we're thinking and doing all the time? How do you declutter and get focused for a client?
I think that depends on what you're walking into. But for me, if I've got a quick 5 minutes before a client's going to walk in, sometimes it's about just checking out my personal needs first, right? Do I need to run to the restroom and do I have water? Those are my cues. But then just really getting in mind, okay, last week when we talked, this client was here. Like, to really get back into that groove fairly quickly, just take some deep breaths, kind of get reset. Because if you go into it without doing that, especially if it's a more intense client, you can easily get caught up with all the outside noise, right? You're going to get caught up with everything else that's coming in. Oh, well, I think she said that she was bipolar, but she's not medicated. What does that mean? Like, you could easily get
Right. I was thinking, sometimes with play clients, but I think with any client, you could do this. If you get really involved in planning the session and you've got, okay, we're going to do this technique or this activity or this thing,
Right.
that you might miss the client for all of your activities.
Right.
So you spend like 10 minutes you've got before they get there, maybe in my case, planning a food exposure,
Right.
and doing this and and then they walk in and, their boyfriend broke up with them and you're like, well, forget the food exposure.
Right.
That's
You're
not
like,
what's
go out the
happening
window.
today.
Right.
That, sometimes the things that we think might be helpful or the things that all that information or all that techniques or all the things that pull at our heartstrings and make us emotional could distract from what we're doing sometimes. And I definitely think, like you said, that this happens to us. And so, of course, this happens to counselors who aren't as practiced, don't have as much experience. And so they need some help and guidance sometimes to say, okay, let's declutter both ourselves, our sessions, our focus or our goals so that we can get at truly what we're
trying to accomplish. Like what is our ultimate goal about our time together? It's a hard thing to model.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all internal and interpersonal.
Which I think also lends itself, like we're describing with clients, but also in supervision.
Right.
That you can get distracted and your supervision session might even feel a little cluttered with maybe all the things that they want to talk about. So focusing in on something that has fewer distractions and can help us all feel accomplished.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks today for listening to Supervision with a Vision. We would love to hear your suggestions of topics that we might cover. Thanks. You've been listening to Supervision with a Vision. Head on over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Therapy Academy to join the conversation and get show notes. We'll be back next week with more Supervision with a Vision.